What's going on, world? Welcome to another edition of the Black Mental Health Podcast. I'm your host, Reg. Joined today with me is a special guest. I usually say special, but this week, guys, I'm doing a whole new different thing this week. I'm pulling you guys into the more personal side of my lives and the people that surrounding me. And so I'm introducing different individuals. I won't tell you who's coming on, which person, or whatever the case may be. And so today's guest, I'm not interviewing myself. I bear the junior version of his name. My father, my dad, the person who gave me life, Mr. Reginald A. Howard Sr. You like that introduction?
Yeah. Hey, guys. Glad to be on. That was good.
It's a good introduction. So, I don't know how much you know. We talk all the time, so I'm not gonna sit up here and act like you don't know nothing. But what do you know about what I'm doing as far as the podcast right now? Like, or what's your feelings towards it? But maybe I should say, like, how do you feel about the work that I'm doing?
Well, I don't get a chance to. I've seen a few of your episodes and stuff like that, and I mean, I'm just amazed at it, man. I mean, first of all, I'm not all that techie myself, but at the same time, I've been learning a lot through just hearing and seeing your work and stuff like that, and I'm just mad proud of you, man. You just been doing some phenomenal things that got me just impressed.
So everybody know, well, I didn't talk deeply about it, but that we were repairing a relationship that we had since I was born. So we didn't always have the best relationship, but we've been it's almost 10 years. I told you I looked up and it's as long as me and Lisa been together, so it went by fast.
Oh yeah.
And
I always tell people anything's possible.
Nah, it's true. Like, it's true. Now you can go as deep or as surface level as you want, but how was that process on your end for yourself rebuilding that relationship? Like, what was your perspective on it? Because I know we talked about it a lot, where you was like, it was like a prayer of trying to rebuild it, but how was it on your opinion?
Well, from my end, I always sort of knew that day would come, but because we got parents. I mean, this stuff goes on all over the world. It's not just with us. We got parents that have separated in relationships and stuff. And I mean, some of them can be cordial and still be good friends and stuff like that.
Mm.
But at the same time, when you have these families that break up like that, we got kids that don't really know what's going on. And so I waited for my time, not knowing what was being said on one side. And I knew that you would always come to me because, I mean, a father knows his son, and just like a mother knows her daughter. But, hey, I always knew that time would come when you're going to want to know more about yourself. And I was waiting for that time because I was like, I know what I have in me, and I knew that you had it in you, and I wanted to be able to cultivate that when the time came.
That's a perfect segue. That's a perfect segue to what I was going to ask you. So, when I started this podcast, it was out of my own mental struggles. And when I first reached out to you, it was some of the stuff, like I was going through so many things as becoming a man and stuff like that. And I know one of the things we talked about early on was the visions that I was having. I'm like, I couldn't talk to nobody else, but the only people that would understand it was you and Gina. And so what, from your perspective, can you explain the visions that we talked about? Because I talk about it in my speeches all the time, but nobody ever get to hear it from your perspective, so they can know that I'm not like making this stuff up.
You said the business or the vision?
V, with a V, visions.
Well, I don't know. Yes, shucks, I had to be about 16 years of age at the time when I started having visions of having my own business and stuff like that, and having helping people is all I ever known. You know what I mean? That's I guess that's from a religious standpoint, and they grew up with me, and then I had the fortune that my mom, she's the type that I used to sit back and watch her sew and do stuff, and the next thing you know, I was into sewing my own stuff and selling them in school and stuff like that, sweatsuits and all those type of things. And so I became an entrepreneur early on. I just didn't know what I was doing.
Well, I was more talking about the bad ones. The bad ones. I tell people, like, I have the good visions of like saving the world and doing all the good to humanity, but I also have those bad visions, like basically the Howard blood. Like, I wanted you to describe that, because people only been hearing my voice about it, so I would love for you to.
Are you talking about the destructive part?
Yeah, did that one.
Oh, I didn't think we were gonna go there.
Well, that's why I said as little or.
I mean, well, you know, it's good and evil and everything. It's good and bad and everything. And it's love and hate and everything. But like I told you once before, you have to. When we first started this, I told you that you have to find a balance. My balance came through religion, because through the family bloodline, we had some people that I believe we inherit some stuff from, which is in the genes, as well as in the blood, and in the brain, and in the mind, and stuff like that, and as well as in the heart. But if you don't know how to use that power, you can use it for bad or you can use it for good. And that's where we have to find a balance. Yeah, you have some issues. When you first called me, when we started this relationship back, and that's how we got rekindled, because you want to have a better understanding of yourself. And I'm glad that I knew that's one of the reasons why I knew you would come this way. Because I had to ask my mom the same question you asked me at one time, and she told me, in order to love somebody else, which I shared that same thing with you. In order to love somebody else or other people, you have to first love yourself. You can't help nobody else if you don't help yourself, and that's why I'm on the venture of self-mastery, and that's why you're on that venture of mental health and helping other people. But you're using that tool for good. You're utilizing it in the right way. You found your balance. Now, if we want to go on the flip side of that
coin, that's what they want to hear. They want to hear that part.
We had some people in our family, from what I understand. You know, they had drinking problems. They had red light parties and stuff like that, and you know, they had this evil streak that was in them where. I heard one that almost cut a man's head off, and you know what I mean. And then we had another that would pull guns and stuff like that. And it's something about us, if what they call it nowadays, they call it blanking. You blank out on people and stuff like that. We taste blood, and that type of rage come up in us. You know what I mean? Because all we know is we too busy trying to be good to each other. I mean, good to people. Why you want to step over the line like that? Why you want to take me out of character?
No, this is true.
So you just blank, but we didn't know it was called blanking back in the day. You know what I mean? All we know is, you know what I mean? Let's go there then. You know? And so, if you don't know how to use, which is basically what it comes down to, self-control. You have to find a way to find balance and use self-control. And the only way I could do that was I had to learn self-mastery, and I had to do it through religion, my Christianity, you know. And then you have to have something to refocus the anger on, as far as, like with me, is writing. I love to write, you know what I mean? I love to encourage people. I love to take people out of the dark place and stuff, and find principles and solutions to help them through hardship situations. With you, I'm just blown away by what you're doing, as far as helping other people through mental health or through your book and other things like that. So that's another focus. You know what they say, where focus goes, energy goes.
Hey, listen, y'all get to hear me talk for a year and a half, and y'all wonder, it's in the DNA. Y'all hear how fluent the conversation is. It's embedded in me to talk and encourage and inspire. I was born this way.
Oh yeah, it's in the genes, that's for sure. Let me tell you something though. They don't know my story, and my story started years ago. Now you know Deadbeat Dads is old, and I always told you the same thing. You need to look at where I'm at right now. I'm not even where you are right now, but you need to. So it's crunch time for you. I already know it's crunch time for me. You know what I'm saying? So I got to make my stuff happen ASAP. But I don't have as much time as you had. But then again, none of us are promised tomorrow. We live moment to moment. So it's crunch time for us all. You see what I'm saying? But you got to remember, I was a miracle at birth, because they didn't expect me to live. They gave me a 50% chance of living or 50% chance of dying. And they said that even if I lived, I was going to be a vegetable. So here I am 50 years later, so that's where I came up with the 50-50-50 notion, you know what I mean? I'm a walk, and here you are, you see what I'm saying? Ain't nothing vegetable about me, you know I'm healthy and strong.
Right.
You know?
So you read the book, right? And we talked, and it gave a little piece of your journey, and we're not going to go into too much of it because I want you to be able to share your story when it's time to share your story. But I just wanted your perspective on like the book and like just what you read about. I know you read it a while ago, but just like your experience with me writing the book and because I remember how proud you was after you read it. Shoot, I think you read it more than once, honestly, but just you talk about your experience with reading the Suffering to Success. You guys can get it. It's out now. Amazon. Go get it.
Right. Man, I was blown away by it myself. I mean, first of all, I got to tell you, I did have a little hate in me about it.
Mm-hmm.
I was one of those haterism because I set out to produce some books and materials a long time before you even thought about getting there, and you beat me to the punch. But guess what? It gave me an inspiration to put the fire up under my stuff, and hopefully your readers and people will see it soon. But I was blown away by it. I mean, I was real proud of it, and the way it was written and formatted and everything like that. I knew from what I read alone, it inspired me with a lot that you had to say in there, and it should have inspired a lot of people. Yo, time waits for nobody. Get up, get out, get into it. Let's make something happen because I don't know. It's really hard to put into words because, like you said, it has been a while since I read the book, but from what I remember from it and stuff like that, it just set some fire up under me, and I went back and started writing my next book.
Well, and that's we never really had the conversation because I didn't know how to approach it, and this probably is not the perfect time, but I just thought about it. The passage that I wrote about you, how did I conceptualize it right? I didn't want to come off at even with my mom because I talked about my mom in the book. I wanted to make sure I was being respectful but giving my opinion, you know. So I talked I had the paragraph or two about you and your version of success and getting because honestly I'm just a 2019 version of yourself. Got kid that wanted big dreams and trying to get to the place of success that we know we have in our heart and stuff like that, but sometimes life get in the way. Um, and so I wanted to make sure I be respectful, but just trying to give my perspective. How did you feel after you read the part about yourself? Hey, before we get into that part of the episode, I just wanted to tell you that this part of the episode is brought to you by You Good Man. Hashtag You Good Man. You Good Man is a free opportunity for boys and men of all ages to come together and have real conversation about wellness. This is a safe space where we can explore manhood, femininity, fatherhood, relationships, our mental health, and everything in between. The goal is to improve wellness for men in the Black community. The host of it, the founder, is Phil Roundtree, who is a mental health professional. He also is the host of the You Good Men podcast, which is dedicated to discussing men's wellness across the areas of mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual wellness. I had a chance to join Phil and the rest of a couple guys at his group sessions, and I'm telling you guys, it's a phenomenal space. I try to bring as much value to my listeners as much as possible. And if you're in the Philadelphia region, this is definitely a space that you should be in, especially if you're a man. You are able to get your feelings out and not be judged and I feel like it's just what he says. It's a safe space for you to come and discuss your feelings. So I had a wonderful time. I'm trying to get back there, but recovery from the accident, I'm not making it. But Phil, if you hear this, man, I'm gonna be through it. I just want to show you some love by putting you on the podcast and getting your brand. I'm always here to do anything that I can to help out with everything going. So check him out. He has the podcast, he has the group session, he has a bunch of other things, merch, everything. So check him out when you guys get a chance. And thank you for supporting him. Now let's get back to the show. This portion of the podcast is brought to you by My Violin Weighs a Ton. My Violin Weighs a Ton is the realization of a unique vision that hip-hop artist and mental health advocate Archie Green crafted and is bringing to life in order to engage, educate, and inspire a new generation. Archie also understands the power of music and how it can be used to overcome obstacles, deal with painful experiences, and even help individuals cope with mental illness. The students participating in this project are a part of the Cleveland Metropolitan School District, which according to a 2017 CDC study are leading the nation in suicide rates. Wow. 2 in every 10 high schoolers having attempted suicide in 2015. That is big. Wow. In January 2019, Archie and his mental health advocacy group, Pilgrim Layers Back, was granted the opportunity to bring My Violin Ways of Telling to life. For the 4-month-long performance project, Archie and Pilgrim Layers Back have partnered with Lexington Bell Community Center, which is an urban youth educational center located in the historic Cleveland neighborhood of Ho. I hope I pronounced that right. To support, head over to the GoFundMe.com/MVWAT 2019. The link will be in the description of this podcast, and make sure to let them know you heard them first on the Black Mental Health Podcast.
I mean, everything was pretty much on point. I mean, that was your perspective and from what you learned and gotten to know about me, experience and stuff like that. I didn't feel any kind of way about it. I had a lot of respect for it because, everybody had their perspective and stuff like that. And yeah, you were on point with a lot of things and stuff like that. And I think a lot of it was what you and I conversed about, as well as what you've experienced over the years and stuff like that, and how you felt.
All right,
so I
wanted to make sure.
I had a lot of respect for it, man, because I mean, it did a lot of clarity and stuff, and a lot of people don't realize that everybody has a story to tell, and they don't realize that they're living that story. And it's not until you really actually sit down and journalize that stuff, when you really take a look back at your life and say, "Dog, I can't believe I experienced that," or "That was how I was actually feeling," and you hit home with a lot of that.
I'm just happy that I didn't, because that stuff is cemented in history. Like when I'm dead and gone in Zion and all in generations after, I don't want it to. It didn't capitalize in a way where it was, disrespect. Because I felt the same way about my mom, with the basis of it being about us going through what we went through, and it's like I don't want nobody to hold my mom in a bad light, because that stuff will be there forever. So I want to make sure that, like, when it came to your passage, it was like, all right, that you were comfortable and with what I wrote without it being, I don't know if I'm saying it right.
Yeah, no. I understand exactly what you're saying. I mean, there's no ill feels and stuff like that. You said it from your perspective, and from the material that we gathered from experience, as well as from what you went through. Everything was on point and stuff like that. And I don't have any ill feels, because me as an individual writer, as well as a person in your position that experienced different things and stuff like that, people are going to see things from their perspective. I don't care if it's Asian, Chinese, black, white, or alien creature. They're going to see it from a different perspective because of what's in their mind. You know what I mean? So perception is the big deal here. And but an open mind, willing to have an open mind and viewing it and saying, well, they can relate to that, or once they let certain things marinate, it's you pull out of everything, no matter what you read, you pull out of it what marinates with you. And I think a lot of people will be able to relate to some of the stuff that's put out there, because they don't. Some people are going through the same exact stuff. You know what I mean? And that just hits home with that.
Listen, I appreciate you for commenting on it and reading it, and I'm glad it did you justice. But let's get into the conversation. I just wanted to give people context, and the real stuff. Yeah, he'll put out later down the line. I'll keep you guys up to date on all his work, because he got some big things happening soon, and you guys know I'm gonna want to support and make sure I could get it into as much places as possible. But say that again.
I appreciate that. That's what's up. I appreciate that.
No problem. So this week is the anniversary of my accident, my car accident. I talked about it on a few episodes. You guys can go listen and get the context of it. And so I wanted to bring on individuals in my family who supported me throughout the year. So you had people who supported the day of the accident. You have some people that supported a little bit afterwards, but the people it's like after the 27th of me getting hit, I didn't hear from some people for the rest of like since then, which is fine because you can only like I'm appreciative of everything, but there were individuals who continually to know that this was going to be a lifelong process, and my father was one of them. So we're gonna travel back a year in time, and so from my perspective, I'm gonna lead it into how you got the information or whatever. So after the accident, I know my phone was left in the car. Like we was so in a rush to get me to the hospital in the ambulance and everything like that. My phone was in the car. So I didn't get a chance to tell anybody or text anybody or let anybody know. And honestly, Lisa was already frantic because of what happened, but she still had to let everybody know, like in my family. So um she didn't have your number saved in her phone, and so I don't know how when you got the information. So if the accident happened on um a Friday, you didn't get it to that Saturday afternoon. I don't think. I think I don't remember too clearly, but um I know the phone call happened way later than it should have. But what was your experience like when you first got the phone call?
Oh man! First of all, I couldn't believe it at the time, and second of all, I couldn't believe that the time frame had taken place, that all that had happened, and I didn't know anything about anything. So as soon as I heard that, I was working and stuff like that, and I just like, yo, I took the next thing smoking. I got right on the phone trying to find the next thing smoking up there because I just I heard that you were okay and stuff like that. You were in the hospital and stuff, but I didn't know that you were in the condition that you were into, and I had no idea that that car was in the condition that it was in. No idea, man. I mean, my heart just left me, but all I knew I had to get to you. I had to get to you, man. And when I got there,
Hold on, don't go deep yet because I want to set the scene up for you before you even walk in the door. So, um, they somehow the information get to you and everybody lets you know or whatever the case may be. But before you got there, and I don't know if you noticed or not, we ever talked about that. I was upset because I'm like, my godmother is in the room, my sister in there, my mom in there, and then my girl in there. I'm like, there's no man around, like to like and I said it earlier in the podcast earlier this year that there was no testosterone in the room. It was all like women are empathy and they going to nurture you and take you there, but sometimes you want that. Dre gone, he's gone and on his visit, like, so I had no like brotherhood, like no man in the room, and I appreciated all the women that was in there, but I just broke down and was just like upset. And so you can start right there.
yeah, I didn't want Lisa to know that I was coming. I didn't want anybody to know that I was coming because I wasn't sure that I was. Well, I wasn't sure how I was going to get there because it came at a real off time for me because, as you get that finished saying, it was the Christmas holiday.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have funds available at the time, but the person, I didn't care who I had to ask to make it happen, but fortunately they heard what was happening, what was taking place, and they said, well, I got this, that, and other. Can I help you? And I said, yes, you can. And that was a blessing, and I appreciate them for that. But I used everything I could draw and to be out within the next hour. I got on the thing, and then you have no idea how long a train ride is, or a plane ride, or a car ride is when you're traveling 500 miles to try to get to somebody that you love, and and constantly praying. You know, I don't even know how to explain that ride, that trip. That was just, there's no words for it. Trying to keep your mind preoccupied, and trying to, and praying and all that stuff, man. You don't even know, I can't even explain it. But when I got there, because I didn't want anybody to know I was coming, because I didn't want you to be upset or things to get worse or whatever the case may have been. But when I got there and I seen you there, man, and I seen you were alive and well. You weren't in the best shape, but you were alive I had seen the pictures and stuff of the car and everything before I got up there and stuff like that. And that's what made me think the worst case scenario. But when I got there, you were alive. She kept saying you were okay and stuff like that. You're in the room and stuff like that. But when I seen your body, man, what you had went through, I was like, you don't even know what worship is.
Listen, this is the first time I'm hearing all of this, so guys, I'm quiet, listening and taking it in because we didn't have this conversation off air.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of choked up here because just thinking about that day, going back to that day, man, it's just like, there's no words for it. And I had to give God some sort of worship. When I seen you from the door and you broke down crying and stuff like that, you don't even know how it tore me up on the inside. I wanted those tears. I needed those tears. That stuff stuck with me because it gave me strength. My son made it. My dad, some of the principles in which I try to show people is, think back on what your dad used to say. And when I was born that day, when they gave me that 50-50 chance and stuff like that, and they didn't know whether I was going to live or die, he was looking through the window and he kept saying, fight, son, fight. This is what he told me. Fight, son, fight. Because he was in the military. He was a military man. He was in the army. And all he kept saying was, fight, son, fight. They just needed me to move a twitch. And when I seen that, I said, yeah, he's a fighter. I knew he was going to be all right. I knew he was going to be all right, because that's what my prayer was coming up there. He's a fighter.
I'm glad you left it right there because and I said it earlier in the other podcast. I'll put the link down for you guys to go check it out. But seeing you walk through the door, being in that predicament that I was in, it did bring tears to my eyes and start to make me cry because it was like, and I told you that, and I'll say it again. It just erased so many years that was missed in that one moment because this was something that could have been like life or death. Well, it literally was, and to see like, because I forgot how I put it, but I say in my to the kids is like the ones that say you don't need your dad, and it's like it's nothing like your superhero telling you got superpowers, and so.
Right.
When you see the person that is your bigger version of yourself walk through and it's just like you need your father. Like you can't say I don't need my dad or whatever, F him and da 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 da. It's like no, you need your father. So when it was that moment, it was like I reverted back to a baby, like like I don't know if I fell asleep afterwards, but I know I was bawling my little eyes out. So
I know you told me I had many brownie points that day.
And it just came at such a significant time, not only because of the accident, but mind you, and this is nothing new to you, but I'm the structure in my household. So, like I'm with me being out of commission, a lot of things fell apart, and you guys will hear it throughout the other episodes of the other people that's coming on. And so you just came right into a perfect position where it was like, all right, what y'all need me to do? Like y'all need me to stay here with him? Do y'all want me to go babysit the kids? Like whatever y'all need me to do, I can do it. And that just was like key.
Yeah, I had to be there for you. I'm always gonna be there for you, no doubt, man, for real. I mean, and that's what I say about a lot of people. A lot of people take for granted, you know, uh, they call us deadbeat dads because we're not in the picture and stuff like that. They put that title on us and stuff like that, and they don't know the circumstances or the details surrounding the situation. But I'm gonna tell you something, and I told you this several times. I'm a praying man. I ain't ashamed of it. I'm a spiritual man. I'm not ashamed of it. In no ways, by no means. And I told you that that's my balance. And I said that to say this: when I'm not with you, I'm your biological father, but my father, I have a biological father as well. And this is where I said all the fathers on Father's Day need to hold their head up. Even if you're not with your kids and stuff like that, hold your head up, because guess what? When you hold your head up, you're looking up to God, to your father, because in your absence, in my absence, I pray daily. I get up every morning at 3 o'clock and I get my instant time in. But I pray daily, even though you're grown, now you got kids of your own. I ask my Father, my God, to watch over my kids and grandkids and family members in my absence. Now, I had that prayer long before you even had your first kid. I might have my stepkids and stuff like that, but I love my stepkids, but at the same time, it's nothing like the biological kid. Nothing like them because, you dad.
Right.
Let them call you deadbeat. Let them give you a title, whatever the case might be. People are going to say what they're going to say, but they don't know your heart. They don't know your mind. If you could be in two places at one time, you would be. But it's not until you've gotten older when you had to find out the details surrounding that, and that's what binded our relationship. Because then you got to see for yourself. I'm not no deadbeat dad. I'm not no step. I'm not no, off the wall dad.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So it comes from the kid as well as from the parents. And I told you this once before also. We might be parents, but I am a student to you as my child because you have taught me so much. We can still learn from our children.
I was letting it sit in. I was letting it sit in. Because I know the magnitude of what you're saying, and because even, and that's away from the accident, and I don't want to give them too much because we gonna package this differently in another time. But it's just like if everything that I'm trying to word it correctly. If you were the quote unquote the worst of the worst human being in the world, when I reached out to you, I'm like, I don't want nothing to do with that little nigga. Right. So I say that to say, to piggyback off of you said, like, it's so much things as children you don't know at what's going on with the relationships and individuals trying to make things work, as far as growing up, and you just understand, all you know is that your dad is not present. And so now the fact that we and again, we'll talk more in details. We're talking a little cold right now, guys, but we'll talk more in detail later on a different date. But what I learned was, although certain decisions impact children in a way where their feelings are hurt, it's feelings that you can't understand until you're older, if that makes sense, if y'all get where I'm going. Like, once you understand and you go through your own trials and tribulations and stuff like that, then you start to understand, like, the things around, circumstances around that, what happened to certain children, or why the whole deadbeat dad stigma is surrounded. Especially me being a man, and just seeing a lot of men go through certain things. Is like, I understand both points of views now. Let's put it like that.
Well, I want to say this also. Thanksgiving Day, I think I don't know whether I'm gonna send that text to you, a copy of it, because I kept it because everybody at the table Thanksgiving Day, I had to show it to them because it brought me to tears on Thanksgiving Day. This Thanksgiving with my daughter, your sister did the same thing. She reached out and said she understands now why. She understands now why. Me being absent, but see that I'm one of the coolest there is. You know what I mean, stuff like that. But she didn't know back then because she was too young and she couldn't say nothing about a lot of things. But since she had an opportunity to be around me and talk to me and stuff like that, man, I'm gonna tell you that text she sent me was just blown away. And a lot of people will tell you that your family, will tell you that text was touching. And she said the same stuff that you said years ago when we first rekindled our relationship. But me and her been having a relationship. You know what I mean? So it just goes to show that it's not with the guys, it's not with the girls. It's not different situations and different family, parents and stuff like that. It's an understanding that the child has to come to. No matter what mom or anybody else tells them, what other adult tells them, that kid got to grow up. And that's one of the reasons why I say that people need to stop using their kids as a pawn and controlling them in a certain way. Because guess what? Eventually they're going to find out the truth.
Yeah, and it's a lot of collateral damage that wasn't supposed to happen the way that it did, and trajectories were supposed to change in a certain way. And I told people early on in, like, an early episode, I understand circumstances like that make you drive and make the decisions that people make. Some things aren't always on purpose. Like, it just, like, that's the way the cookies crumble.
Right. I mean, lifestyle. You got. I mean, you think about it. You didn't know anything about why I was absent. All you know is I wasn't there.
That's
You know
it.
what I mean? But a lot of times it becomes because of lifestyle changes. You know, work situation. You can't get off from work, or you don't have the money for transportation. You got to think about we got 500 miles in between us.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So it's not like I can get on the public bus and go right around the corner and see you guys and stuff like that. So I mean, not making excuses. There's no excuse for not seeing you or spending the time that I did. But it's just a lot of stuff that you've learned since you become a man and now you with your own family. You see what I'm saying? And you're getting a better understanding of those things. And here she is only 17, and she's learned that stuff for herself as well. And now she's coming into her own.
Mm-hmm. And coming into her adulthood too. But we giving them too much. They can't get all that. That's they gotta pay for that. That's deep level stuff. Uh, but back to the exit. So once we were in the hospital, and I haven't disclosed the hospital in their information because I don't want to give them publicity for one. And for two, I am grateful that they were able to at least get me back to somewhat 100%. But it wasn't the best of experiences, and I just know that it was hard. I can't remember. Maybe you can help me remember some of the week, or we could try to remember together. I just remember like it just was just like they didn't want to do their job. We went to go get an ultrasound together for my leg to make sure like something was wrong, and the guy was like leaning on my leg, trying to take the picture, and you like had to like talk to him like, yo, you're leaning on his messed up leg. So
I mean, they were careless in the way that they were doing things. You know what I mean? I don't know. I know that it could have been much better than what they were doing, stuff like that, and they didn't show. I mean, don't get me wrong. They had a handful of people there that were real sensitive to your situation,
right,
and we got to give them respect to that, you know. But then they had just as much of a handful that were just unprofessional in their field,
right.
you know. But thing of it is, you got the proper medical treatment. I mean, it wasn't the best in hospitality wise, and you know, but that's where family comes in to make sure that okay, let's just get through this, and then you know what I mean, we'll deal with the rest later.
Yeah, and and then you got a chance to come up afterwards, so he spent as much time as he could before he had to go back to work. And um, so you seen the recovery, but I wanted to talk about the process of because I keep screaming it all up and down like this year, like. Yeah, I was supposed to take the year off, like even the doctors and everything. And I know what your intentions was, but just talk about it's like because you were one of the people like maybe you should just take the year off.
This portion of the podcast is brought to you by Spread the Good Communications. Spread the Good Communications offers copywriting, editing, planning, and consulting services to help businesses and nonprofits share who they are, what they do, and why it's valuable. The mission of Spread the Good is helping people who serve the well-being of communities, families, and individuals to engage their audience and build relationships. You may have the right solutions to offer your audience, but your success is limited without effective messages and stories about your work. Shelley Williams is the creator of Spread the Good Communications. She loves using the power of words to make a positive impact in people's lives. Here's a testimonial from Sharika on her website. Shelley has been a great asset to my company and played a vital role in implementing effective communication strategies for my target audience. She is able to quickly understand and complete work that delivers a clear and detailed message. If you're ready to get better results with engaging your ideal audience, visit spreadthegoodcoms.com/services and reach out to Shelly and tell her Reg sent you. I can 100% vouch for her. She's been nothing but great for me and the work that we've done. If you guys like my book, Suffering Success, A Paradigm Shift for Struggle to Achieve Happiness, you'll definitely know that she was the person who edited my book. And if you guys like the way the flow of my book went, you can get a living proof of example of her work. So go check out Spread the Good Communications and tell Shelly Rad sent you, and go get a copy of Suffering Is Success while you out. This portion of the podcast is brought to you by the Worthy Lifestyle app. Are you looking for mental health support, education, and resources? Are you lacking self-esteem to elevate? Are you looking for a way to handle the childhood trauma you're not talking about? Are you sad, angry, or just all over the place emotionally? If so, download the Worthy Lifestyle app. The Worthy Lifestyle app provides mental health education, resources, and support. Learn how to become the best version of yourself. Before you can win, you have to believe you're worthy. Download the Worthy Lifestyle app and tell them Brad sent you. I had a chance to meet the creator and the owner and the operator, and she's an amazing person. We actually are in the talks of doing big things together, especially for the mental health community. So I'm in full support of what she's doing with this app, and I highly recommend it because it's an amazing tool for people that say therapy and all of these things are expensive and they don't know where to start. So the Worthy Lifestyle app is definitely a place to give you that start, and it might be the place that you call home for a while. So go download the app and tell them Brad sent you.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, go ahead.
The thing of it is, yeah, I can't help but, again, it's in the genes, and you got that stubbornness and stuff like that. I mean, and then we got that fight in us where, we got that winning spirit, and that's what you got. You got that, and I'm going to tell you, I got to go back to a moment there, though. I don't, because people weren't there, and I don't think you elaborated on that at all. But the work that you have done prior to the accident, I didn't know the work that you had done. I didn't know how many people you have helped and stuff with what you've been doing with your book, with your podcast and stuff like that. But I just want to share that because it meant a great deal to me. You talking about breaking in tears and worship and stuff, just knowing that you were alive. But I'm talking about the time, and this is how people love you, man, with what you're doing. I'm talking about that moment when you first just told people, look, I'm down, and I might be down for a while. My family, I'm not gonna be able to help my family and stuff like that. And you were still feeling so bad about your family. You still had your heart out there for your family that you weren't even concerned about your situation that you were in. But that's not the point. The point is, you made a small gesture on, I don't know whether it was Facebook or whichever one of those things. Cash app or
no, it was on Instagram and Facebook, and I just told them about it. But go ahead. Yeah, it was on social media.
Yeah, that on social media. I'm not, like I said, I'm not too techy with all that stuff. I'm just getting familiar and learning all that stuff just through all this stuff happening. Mm-hmm. and so when I was just there, it was a few minutes, man. It was a few minutes when you just put that in there. And I went to the bathroom and got dressed and stuff like that, and came back out, and I heard this noise, and that was you breaking out crying and in tears and stuff like that, because all you asked for was $1 or more or something like that. It was minimum.
Mm-hmm.
And I never forget that feeling, man, of how people showed you that love. It was better than a standing ovation. To me, It was better than a standing ovation for people to come together in less than 15 minutes to show you as much love financially as I have seen people doing standing ovation at a concert. That was so impressive to me, and while you were crying in celebration of the love that was poured out at you, I didn't know what was wrong with you when you yelled out and started crying like that, man. I mean, I didn't know what I was like. I'm thinking you're having pain from your injuries and stuff like that, and I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? And you showed me that. When you showed me that, man. I don't know if y'all ever had the Holy Spirit before, but it was like that when he showed me that screen and said all these people did this and that. I said I just was in. That wasn't even 10 or 15 minutes. I was blown away. That Junior is the love. That's people showing you, and that's exactly what I told you. I said, that's people showing you the love that you showed them and being there and your service to people. That's the man upstairs showing you that the ones you don't think love you or paying you no attention or is into what you into, they showed you love. That's your applause. That was your applause. You need to take a bow because that's what that was financially. And I don't know who your listeners is and who this might go out to, but the love you show people back financially, in applause, or just with a smile and encouragement. That's what we are. We're seasoning folks' lives back and forth. And that's what you did to them. And they did the same thing back to you, laying up in your hospital bed. And that was the most impressive thing I've seen. I don't even know how I got on there, but I had to put that in.
It was good because I actually forgot about it, and it was a big moment for myself because I didn't expect nothing. Like I was grateful for anything that people decided to donate or support, and it was an overwhelming amount. I don't want the government to be listening.
Right, but you know what? What I felt so bad about it. I mean, while that was a great moment, I'm like, dog, there's nobody here to actually witness this with us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the people out there that's doing this, they might be, I mean, I could just like, let's say I give you $1, right? You're cool with that. But they don't know that they don't know how much that multiplied by 1,000 people or so.
Right. They don't know how many things that everybody else is giving and things like that.
Right. You see what I'm saying? That was a blessing to you and your family, and I was overwhelmed. I said, God got us in the right place at the right time to do the right thing for the right people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We're doing what we're supposed to do, and that's what it's about, serving your purpose. That car accident was for a reason. That was for you to get more material to help more people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he didn't have any intentions on you going the other way. You're here for your purpose, and it's not for just you. It's for somebody else that's waiting on what you got to give them.
I'm happy you said it because I said it in the earlier episode. Like I've been still trying to process it all, and I think we talked about it earlier. And you probably don't remember because it was like I haven't want to touch into it because I'm still like scared about how much of it that I need to understand, and I think it's more that's tapping into God level superpowers because it happened on 12/27 at 12/27. While I was 27 years old. You know, my birthday is May 27th. Zion's birthday is 11/27. I don't even want to begin to even try to understand what that's supposed to mean.
That's a whole new hookup right there, man. You're talking about that's too deep. They might can't get with that right
there. So I didn't even want to talk like that. But Randall, we'll talk about it later this week. But I'm gonna go out there at that time. I'm gonna park to the side and see what maybe it was something I was supposed to see. Like on the anniversary, I want to just park over and just sit and just see at 12/27 on that day. Like what was I supposed to miss? Like what what was I supposed to see?
Right.
But go ahead.
You know, I don't know about a lot of people knowing about energy, but I mean, that's sort of like a quantum leap type thing, you know, some old sci-fi type stuff, which you just broke down right there. But you, what was I going to say? You have to believe that a year later, I mean, man, this is miraculous. I mean, it's miraculous. You think about it now. You're supposed to be recovering, and you recovered pretty good. I like all the physical therapy, and I mean, you recovered a lot better than I anticipated, and a lot quicker because you had that drive. And just while you're supposed to be recovering, you've been working. You know what I mean?
Hey, you know, I had the laptop in the hospital bed. you kept trying to tell me put the laptop.
Yeah, you got well. That was good because you know while most people read a magazine or watch TV and stuff like that, you was redirecting your focus into your work, and that's good stuff because I'm pretty sure you can see the benefits that you're reaping from them right now. You know what I'm saying? And guess what? That's just planting the seed for further benefits that's about to take place. Because somebody somewhere you can pop off in somebody's life, man, for real, and you haven't seen anything yet. You and your family, you think you've been through something, but a lot of times stuff happen to you to try and stop you, but it don't. If it doesn't stop you, it makes you stronger. Because guess what? I'm pretty sure, and you and I've been here. You want to throw in the towel quite a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you weren't able to do what you used to doing.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? You're not able to get up, get out, get into it. You're not able to help people. And here you can't help yourself. And here you're trying to help people. How can you help people and you can't help yourself? You get into that dark place.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that you found the energy to revert and say, hey, wait a minute, this is not me.
Mm-hmm.
If I throw in the towel now, you know what I mean? Then I'm defeating my purpose, which your purpose is to help other people. So, your story goes on, and the fact that you did cross that line, that shows that you've gotten much, much stronger, man. And I'm trying to tell you, man, the seeds that you're planting right now, just from getting through that, just from getting through the first year of this thing, I'm trying to tell you, you're going to see some mad stuff take place for you. And I'm right proud of you, and I know, I'm expecting to see mad stuff take place.
Well, you answered the question without even knowing you answered the question, because that's where we directed it. When you went back to the out love and support, I was asking you about the recovery process of taking the year off, and you answered it directly.
Yeah, you know how to be.
But and so and did you want to touch on therapy as far as like physical therapy, because you actually came to a couple of the therapy sessions and going through that and seeing, because they was telling me to stop. I was pushing myself because I wasn't so used to like being so like helpless and trying to figure out like, man, I'm so dependent on people, because mind you, I never really broken the bone. When I played football, I never like broken nothing or nothing like that. So this was the first time I had to, to me, this was life ending right now. I thought like I was never gonna walk again, and my hand was never going, because I couldn't snap, I couldn't grab, but nothing, I couldn't do nothing. So to me, it was like, man, I gotta at least hurry this process along, or it's gonna get stuck like this.
Right. You were working out like, they had you in that. But I don't even know nothing about no body machine. That was some crazy physical therapy equipment I seen, man. But they had you working out like you were getting ready, like Rocky Balboa getting ready for a fight or something like that. So, you was pushing yourself so hard. I'm like, yo, you doing too much, man. You overdoing it and stuff like that. But you pushed and stuff like that, and I guess that's one of the reasons why you. But again, I'm not surprised. That's how come I couldn't. I wasn't gonna give you no negative vibes, though. Cause I know, again, the only thing I kept thinking was like my dad used to tell me. Well, I wasn't there at the time, but as an infant sitting in there, I keep telling you about, hey, just saying fight, fight, son, fight. I'm looking at you and I'm thinking the same thing. Okay, get it, Rocky, fight, son, fight. And so I was just mad proud of you. And of course, I was going to be there to support you, and see some of that stuff. I wanted to see you. I might not have been there to see you walk. Yeah, was I there? I don't know. But I don't know, man. But I might not have been able to see you do a lot of things, man. But I'm going to tell you something. You weren't 2 years of age trying to walk and stuff, but you might have been in your 20s trying to walk all over again. But it's the same thing, man, all over again. And you did.
And I think we talked about that in the hospital. I'm like, you ain't get to spoon feed me that much when I was a baby, but you spoon feeding me now.
Yeah, sure did. You think I was? It wasn't no shame in my game. It wasn't no shame in my game. I feed you, clothes, bathe you, whatever I had to do to get you back to 100.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
as we wrap up, because they don't know, we could talk for hours and literally for hours.
Yeah, because Junior could be a little long-winded. I try to listen, but
I wonder where I get it from, because I ain't talking
I
much
know,
too.
right?
I ain't talk. I'm like, yo, do you shut up? Like, why do you keep talking? But
yes, I ain't gonna have it too.
But the last thing I would touch on is I asked all the guests and you talked a little bit about it in the beginning, but your overall viewpoint, perspective, like any comment that you have on mental health and your perspective on it and what you think about it, and how can we break the stigma, just anything you want to say about mental health.
Yeah, I can say quite a few things about mental health, but the fact that I'm not a rocket scientist and I'm just common folk, you know, I don't have any documents or degrees behind me to to back me up on anything that the doctors do know about mental health. Is that again, we have three assets in life. That's life, that's our mind, and our time. And the only way we can, well, we'll never be able to alleviate mental health issues because that's a part of life. But we can help in some of the problems that we have in mental health issues because mental health goes a long way. It's a big, it's a whole array of things we could say about that. But we as a people, individuals, human beings, have to first learn how to use our time wisely in mastering ourselves. We have to utilize self-control and different things in that nature. We have to do the best we can do as far as taking care of our lives. And we have to do the best we can as far as taking care of our minds. Now, if we keep our minds in good and going in the right direction, and our heart and stuff going in the right, you remember, wherever the head goes, the body will follow.
Mm-hmm.
Has to follow. You know, so if you keep your mind going in the right place, we got too much fighting against us as it is. You know what I mean? You know, we got social media, TV, radio, propaganda, and peer pressure, school, work, bills, you name it. All that fighting against us. So it's up to us as an individual to do whatever we can to get around all the optimistic stuff that we can do to keep our lives going in a certain way. But it starts with self. And Michael Jackson said it starts with the man in the mirror.
I don't know if they listen to that song. I'm messing around.
Trust me, everybody know Mike. Mike gone, but right now, but you know,
Mm-hmm.
they know what the man in the mirror is.
Shoot,
You know,
Zion told me about Michael Jackson. Oh, what you know about Michael Jackson? He's been going longer than you alive.
See? but his work is still around, and that's what we want to do. We want to leave our work around so we can help other people. Because just like Zion don't know Michael Jackson, never met him or never seen him and stuff like that, he still see his work. He still hear people talk about him. His legacy lives on, and it's still encouraging. And you still got a lot. He making more money while he gone than he was when he was here.
No, that's true.
You see? So that's what we got to do, and that's how powerful our time, our life, and his mindset was. It might have been a weird mindset to some folks, but guess what? He paved the way in a different way.
Nah, that is so true, and that's even that's a perfect follow through of. I want to thank you for even sitting down and having this conversation. Of course, I know we have these conversations off air all the time, but even having it on air and for it to be shared with the world, you didn't have to participate in it and share any part of it. And I know this will go down. Mind you, our great grandkids are going to be listening to this, and it's like, man, um, I got to hear my great grandfather and great great grandfather talk on about what's going on and understanding themselves, and that's all I try to do is just leave a legacy and just try to leave the world better than I found it. So I appreciate you for coming on and sharing a bit so people get to hear, and hopefully this not the last time they hear from you.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you having me on. It's a privilege and an honor. I mean, it's just doggone historic to me because, you know, having my son have me on. I mean, and for I want people to know, you know, that we got that type of kick going on, and I hope that we can reach other fathers and sons throughout, you know, wherever this may reach and stuff like that. And I'm hoping that one day, just like I had a mentor that started me on my path long ago, and he reached out and turned the light on to me. And my thing, and I like what you're doing and stuff like that, is to do the same thing in other people, to turn on the lights in other people, so that way it can become infectious. And I appreciate all that you are doing, and I appreciate you having me on.
Listen, and on that note, guys, follow, subscribe, comment, share this podcast. It's one of many that's going to be the start of. As you can see, we talk behind the scenes all about doing things to just impact the world. And so again, I appreciate you for listening, and I thank you guys just for supporting me through this whole year, man. Just to struggle with the journey. I'm not gonna get too deep and sentimental, but Thank you guys. Follow, subscribe, and thank you for listening. I'll talk to you guys soon.